Hey Gilmore Loves 321. I wanted to make the content of this channel very college oriented, and when you asked me about, RLC versus the residential college at West Ambler Johnson, I felt like it was a really good way to start this up, so I decided to make a video about it. Also, I'm a lot better at talking than I am at writing, and there's just a lot that I wanted to say, and I couldn't fit it into one or two comments, so I figured I'd just make a video for you, and hopefully that will be helpful. As you know, I was in the RLC, so I lived in PY until about a week ago, and I've never been in West AJ because it hasn't opened yet, but I've been in East AJ, which as far as I know are pretty much identical facilities and all of that. Actually, I think they might share a lot of the facilities, so I'll use that as a reference. And I hope not to be biased because I was in the RLC, but obviously I'll probably have a lot more info on the RLC personal experience, than in East AJ, but I'll try my best to be objective. I would say that East and West AJ are a lot nicer than PY, but PY is more comfortable, and I'll kind of go through the pros and cons of each one and explain how that really, what the implications of those things are. And East and West AJ are just so nice. They've just been renovated, they're super pretty. The walls, they have a lot of halls, and study rooms have these super bright colored walls, like fuchsia and yellow and green. I mean, it's fun and it's pretty and it's new looking. A lot of the facilities are really neat. The kitchen is huge and super nice. One of my friends used to go over to East AJ from PY just to use the kitchen because the kitchen is so much better than ours. Our ovens are kind of old and they're not the best. They kind of burn things evenly, but you probably don't care about this if you're not big on cooking / baking. Other cool facilities that East and West AJ have is this really cool entertainment room where you have ping pong table, foosball, air hockey, and pool table, and also a pinball machine, and Twister and fun games like that. It's just, everything's really pretty, really nice, but the two main disadvantages, I would say, the two main cons would be the fact that the rooms, I think, are considerably smaller than the rooms in PY. They're very much what a regular dorm size is, which is 12 by 15, and also that it's traditional style, so you do have to share a bathroom with pretty much everyone on your floor, on your hall. So those are the main disadvantages. PY isn't nearly as nice. The walls are pretty much just white, and even some of the walls are like cement blocks painted white, so the finish is like cement blocks. It's not that pretty, but I would say that the pros are quite great. Pretty much the fact that you have, as you probably know, a common room that you share with 5 other girls. You have a semi-private bathroom. You have 2 showers, 2 stalls, and 2 sinks that you share with those same 5 girls. And the rooms are quite a bit bigger. I would say that the biggest room in the suite is probably about 12 by 20 maybe, and it has a walk-in closet. The other one is maybe 12 by 17. Or maybe a little bit wider than that, and I actually had the smallest room, the square middle room, and that one's only 13 by 14, but I still felt like there was a lot more we could do in there than in the East AJ rooms. Also, you could get the triple room. There's 3 of them in all of PY, and it's just this huge room that you share with 2 other girls. So you don't get a common room, but you actually get furniture to make your own little common room within the room. That probably has some cons and pros, so it's very much up to luck how big your room's going to be and all of that, but you'll almost definitely get a common room. Like I said, the implications of these things I feel are, for example, the room size will really affect your room layout. I'm almost sure that in East and West AJ you have to loft possibly both of your beds or bunk them. You may or may not be able to not loft one of them, but I'm almost sure you can't not loft both of them. So that's really, you're either going to have bunked beds or lofted and put your desks under your lofts. Whereas in PY, even in the smallest room, you don't have to have your bed lofted. What we had to do was my roommate and I half lofted our beds, so they'd be a little bit just high enough that we could put drawers underneath them to have extra storage space, but we could still my roommate had a little stool to get up on hers, and I just kind of ran a little bit and did a little jump thing for it. So I feel like that's quite convenient if you don't want to have to climb up to your bed or bunk your beds. What I meant about PY being more comfortable, though, mainly has to do with the benefits of having a common room and your own bathroom. It's just really nice to have the bathroom right there and to actually have it be your own. You can leave your stuff there and things like that. You can leave your toothbrush on the sink, although now that I think about it, sink and all of that you have in your room, so that's not a big deal. but our shower caddies, we did just line up outside the showers and things like that, and you can just, you know, leave in a shower and walk right across this tiny hall and you're in your room, like within your common room. You don't actually have to walk down the hall in a towel, which I think might be a little more uncomfortable, but I mean, it's still not a big deal. Having a common room is just really nice to avoid roommate issues, I feel, because it gives you another place to be, so you don't always have to be locked up in this room with this other person, and it just provides great alternatives to like solutions. For example, my roommate and I had super different sleep schedules. She always went to bed way earlier than I did, and she's quite sensitive to light when she's trying to fall asleep. So me being in the room on my computer, even if I was working on an essay or something school related, would really just be a problem for her trying to fall asleep, and it really wouldn't be fair for me not to be able to do my work because it's my room, and it wouldn't really be fair for her to not be able to sleep because she needs her sleep and it's her room. So the solution was just whenever either one of us wants to go to bed, the other one will leave the room and go to the common room, which is perfectly fine because it's right outside. You just grab your stuff, move out, and then the other person can fall asleep comfortably. I mean, I thought that was really nice, really easy to do, and you don't have to go and like look for an open study lounge and things like that, which can sometimes be hard, sometimes be really easy. Also, it depends on if you live right next to a study lounge or if you're like way down the hall from one and you have to carry all of your stuff there. I just thought that was very convenient. It's also a really nice place to like take naps if for some reason, I mean, that's kind of silly because like you have your room right there, but my roommate, for example, liked to fall asleep to the TV playing when she took naps, and so if I happened to be taking a nap at the same time that she wanted to take a nap, she wouldn't go in and turn on the TV because that would be rude for me that was sleeping, so instead she'd go out to the common room, like turn on the TV and fall asleep on the couch. Although that can be dangerous if you live across the hall from really immature guys, like we did, so you may or may not get woken up to being drawn on with Sharpies. That may or may not have happened to me a couple of times, which brings me to the fact that the floors in PY are co-ed, so it's kind of nice that we lived right across the hall from a suite of guys. I just think that's nice. I like being able to interact with girls and guys at the same time on the floor without having to go that far. That's just another cool thing about PY. Again, about the common rooms, it's just really nice to have another place other than your room to socialize. If your roommate wants to study or something, they can be in the room studying and you can be hanging out with your friends in the common room or watching TV or doing those things. We really didn't do much in our room other than study and sleep, or like when we wanted to be alone, we'd be in our rooms, and then when we wanted to socialize and see other people, we'd go in the common room. So I mean, it's just a living room, but I thought it was super convenient and I really loved having a common room. All of that being said, I do actually think that there's some cons just to the fact that you have a common room and the suite style living, and that would be mainly that you do get more isolated than if you live in the traditional style, I feel, because you have your common room right there, so you don't really try to get to know people that far away as much. First semester we were pretty isolated. My suite and the suite right across the hall, since we were at the end of the hall, it was just pretty much the only people I really knew, even on my floor, which is kind of sad. And I broke out of that second semester, but I just feel like it's easier when you are hanging out in the halls and things like that. And it's something that I did feel I missed out on, and I was a little bit sad that I got to miss out on. You can always do suite style your second year, you know, and if you have traditional your first year, but it's a little bit harder to do. You probably won't do traditional if you don't do it your first year, unless you become an RA in a traditional style, which is what I'm doing. So I'll actually get the traditional style next year, which is a little more inconvenient, but I think it's going to be cool to get that experience. So that's something that I'm a little bit sad that I missed out on. I just feel like you get a lot closer with more people in traditional style than suite style. I just met a lot of people that said that the same thing happened to them that did to me in PY, where they really only hung out with the people in their suite and the people across the hall, and you get really close with your suite mates, which is really neat. But you can miss out, I feel, and also you can just combat that by making an effort to get to know people who live in your building and in your hall that don't live right next to you. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, I think, on PY and Ambler-Johnston. I guess you should also consider the academic things that come with it. I don't know if the residential college at West Ambler-Johnston has any other academic obligations that you have by accepting to live there. I know that East AJ, for being honors, obviously you have to maintain your honor standing, and also they have to take like a small honors class that I don't believe is much work, but the RLC does require the 2 classes that I'm sure you know about, one each semester, and they are fairly easy they are ECA classes, but you still have to put some, some time into them. As long as you do your participation and you get your homework done, you'll probably get an A, but that's still some time that you have to put into them. So I guess it's something to consider. So I guess a lot of it comes down to just what you find more important. If you want to live in a traditional style where everything's super pretty and new and awesome, or if you want to live in a building that might not be quite as nice, but you'll have I think a little bit more privacy and things like that, and just things that make life a little bit easier in some cases. Depends a lot on personality, what you value. So I give you the pros and cons kind of. That's why I tried to make it pretty objective at the beginning, just pros and cons, and then I gave my input on them and like what I think those mean and like why I think one thing is cooler than the other. But you might think that, having a common room isn't that important. And you might really love to bake, and that kitchen is just the coolest thing ever. So, I guess I think it matters a lot what you value, and hopefully this helped. I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure you'll have tons of fun wherever you decide to go. And welcome to Virginia Tech! I hope you have a fantastic freshman year.